Hi, Anne. We have our second midlife mailbag question to answer today. And this one is from somebody who says that when I was younger, I had this sense that I would have everything figured out by the time I reached midlife. But now that I'm here, I feel there's still so much I don't know. The more experience, the more things I wonder about. Is this a midlife thing, having more questions than answers? I feel like I'm becoming more comfortable with living with uncertainty, not needing to have all the answers.
Well, I don't know if it's universal at midlife, but it's certainly something I can relate to. I think that that learning to live with uncertainty, hasn't that been something we've all been exposed to the max for the last couple of years? So I think we've all developed our flexible thinking skills, and that sense of awareness where you realize you get exposed to a new concept. Like for me, intersectional feminism, until I heard that concept, I couldn't unlock all the meaning in that. So that's one of the things I love about being at midlife, is being exposed to new ideas and combining ideas, because you have so much life experience. You can take this concept and sort of blend them together. And being willing to try new things. I mean, I'm trying to teach myself how to write a novel. I'm trying to teach myself how to snowshoe. I'm getting good at that. I'm actually pretty proud of myself. How to operate a wood boiler, which is like the way we heat our rural home. So like I'm learning all these things that were totally out of my comfort zone and skill set, but then you get confidence with that. And I'm thinking, like, next thing I need to know, I need to know how to like use the giant snow plowing machine thing. You can see I still have a bit of a learning curve in that department, but come back in a year and I'll be teaching a rural skills course for newbies.
Yeah, look at you. I agree with you. I think it probably is part of midlife, because the more you learn, the more you know you don't know, right? Like, I think it's really, really normal the younger you are to think you know more than you actually do. And then as you learn things, you're like, oh, and there's this whole area that I know nothing about. So I think that's just part of living, is that you get more questions than answers. And I do think there's also a shift from ego, I know everything, I have all the answers, I need to prove I have all the answers, to curiosity and letting go of that a little bit, and like, well, what is the answer here? And I'm not saying that happens to everybody, but I do think it's part of the shift from the first half of life, let's say, to the second, where we don't necessarily have the need to prove all the time that we know. And so the value of asking the question feels better. Like, it feels more clear than proving that you know the answer. So I think I think that's part of it, with the person's asking, like, I feel I'm becoming more comfortable. Yeah, with living with uncertainty, for sure. And I don't know what you think of this, if this is too depressing. But I feel there's something here a little existential. Like, the older you get, the more you've been put in a position of being in the unknown, the more you get used to being in that position of uncertainty. Eventually, we're all going to a place that's uncertain. We don't know what's happening. So it's like, I think there is got to be some kind of muscle practice around that, of the letting go of knowing and really being okay with the uncertainty as kind of our jobs here.
Yeah, just that it makes sense that it's sort of woven into this part of the life journey. And I loved what you said a few minutes ago about sort of like letting go of the ego thing, because I remember reading that for young people in particular, that there can be you limit yourself. Like, let's say that you might want to try this sport, but you're not going to be good at it right away, so you won't even try, because you feel like you should be focusing all your energies on things you're really good at. Whereas when you get to this point of life, sometimes it's like, okay, I know I can do this well and this well and this well. How can I challenge myself? By trying that thing that I was scared to do 2 decades ago, or something I just heard about last week that sounds like an amazing activity and I didn't even know it existed, right?
Yeah. And that's hard. Like, that is actually challenging for so many people, because I think you do sometimes have the sense that you should be good at things right away now. Like, it doesn't feel as good to just be a beginner, but it's so important.
I have to give you this great example of something they do locally. There's like some kind of seniors group. I'm not quite sure what the details are, but they put this flyer in the newspaper, and it's a whole bunch of come and try it activities. Come out and
Wow.
try trail walking or snowshoeing or skating or all these things you might not know how to do. They supply the equipment, they supply the people that will help you figure out how to do it. Like, what a brilliant idea. And I think they even have like a lending library of snowshoes. Like, holy, we need more of that kind of stuff in our communities.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really amazing. And did you say that's for seniors?
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
think that they're very generous with their definition of seniors.
Yeah.
When it's something I want to do, I'm always really happy when they, include those of us in our 50s. It's like, just
Yeah.
throw a lifeline to us. We want to know how to do these, and we want to build some relationships, right?
Yeah. I think though that for me, and we can edit this out if it's not part of this conversation in your opinion, but I feel like what that kind of highlights to me is how much that's needed at midlife, and how it's just another way we don't have resources aimed at us. Like, there are resources for every other stage of life, and midlife just doesn't have that. Like, and that makes me a bit sad, because I think a lot of people wouldn't want to join that group just because they would feel like it wasn't for them.
I'm not there yet, quote unquote.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So I wish there was more invitations for people in midlife to be curious and to explore things and be beginners, because it really is such a part of healthy aging to do that. So
yeah. And I think I really want to leave this part of our conversation in, Sarah, because maybe this will inspire some of our listeners to look at things that are happening for seniors in their community and start advocating to maybe have that at the midlife stage, or maybe it will inspire some kind of social enterprise for themselves. So
yeah,
who knows? We can't let a great idea not get sort of tossed out into the world, right?
okay, it's yours. If you're listening to this and you like it, take it and run with it. And I just want to say that, yeah, tell us, please tell us. And I just want to thank that person too for their question, because it's really, I don't know, there's something vulnerable about not knowing.
Yeah.
And to be the one to put up your hand and say, actually, I don't know. And so to ask that question, there's so much confidence in it, and it's vulnerable. And so I just want to acknowledge that person for that.
And with them, we can celebrate the fact that they aren't in that high school class anymore with like 32 sets of eyeballs staring at them, waiting to hear, like, you said you don't know this.
Right.
It's like, no, it's like, now you can proudly say, hey, I don't know this, and ...
Yeah. And what confidence and power comes from the not knowing. Like, that is really, that's significant and something to celebrate, I think. So